What's up, football fans? Welcome to Frank Football Zone, your home of the latest football news, match analysis, and everything going around this beautiful game of football. My name is Frank, and if you love the game, then you're in the right place. Subscribe, like, comment, and let's talk football. Well, let's dive in. And today's matters Chelsea, and I'd like to begin with the goalkeeping department. We have three goalkeepers at the moment: Philip Jorgensen, Robert Sanchez, who is our number one, and Mike Penders. And in the look of things, Jorgensen is now leaving on loan to Strasbourg. Remember, Strasbourg is the Chelsea sister club, which plays in the French Ligue 1 in France. And so he's heading to where Mike Penders spent the rest of last season. And I believe this transfer, from the beginning, it was not supposed to happen because Jorgensen has not had enough playing time. In the few matches he was given a chance to prove how good he is, he ended up making silly mistakes and making so many mistakes. So in the look of things, Jorgensen is leaving. He joined Chelsea from Villarreal, I think it was 2 seasons ago. But Sanchez has always been our number one. Sanchez has always been ahead of him. And so this means we are remaining with two goalkeepers. But before I get to Penders and Sanchez, just to add something on Jorgensen, these are trends that Chelsea has been using since these owners took over. They sign players who are not even, let me say, ready to play for this club. They sign them when they are young. They loan them. Then after loaning them, they loan them to a club where they find enough playing time. And once they've played for a full season somewhere, they'll be sold at a higher price. Look at what happened to Andre Santos. He was signed from Brazil straight to Chelsea. Then he was taken to Nottingham Forest. He didn't get enough playing time. I don't think if he played even a single game. Then from there, he came back to Chelsea. Then he was transferred to Strasbourg to play on loan. He played good football. He had enough playing time under Liam Rosini at Strasbourg. When he came back, he played for 1 season. Then he was sold to Manchester United for around 50 million euros. So this player was signed not necessarily to play for Chelsea, but to generate more income. And I believe, look at the likes of Datro Fofana. He was signed, he'll be sold. Look at the likes of Oguchuku. He was signed at a very low price, then he was sold at a very high price. So Jorgensen will not come back to Chelsea, that's for sure. He's going to get enough playing time at Strasbourg. Then from there, he'll be sold at a very high price. So that means we are remaining with Robert Sanchez and Mike Penders. And the future of Sanchez is not clear because we can see rumors that Chelsea is interested in the Porto goalkeeper Diogo Costa, who is being valued at around 60 million euros. And he's a top goalkeeper, as all of us can admit, because if a goalkeeper is being sold at 60 million euros, this clearly indicates that it's a top goalkeeper. So Robert Sanchez's future is not certain, and he's not even sure if he will be number one because Chelsea is interested in Diogo Costa. And looking at Sanchez, this is not a player you can rely on for a full season. Yes, he's a good goalkeeper sometimes, but you can't win the Premier League with such a goalkeeper. You need someone who can make saves. And in the modern football, you need a goalkeeper who is good with the ball or at his feet. Sanchez is not good at that. He has been making silly mistakes, giving passes, missed passes. Imagine a goalkeeper giving blind passes. That means opponents can easily score. And we saw Sanchez making such errors. So Sanchez might be sold. Mike Penders, if Diogo Costa will come in, he might be a number two. He might be a number two option. So that is for the goalkeeper. Let me know your take on the comment section. If you want Sanchez to remain, if you want maybe Jorgensen not to go on loan, and if you agree with me that Jorgensen will be sold after his loan spell at Strasbourg, let me know in the comment section. Then we have the attacking department, that is the strikers and the wingers. We have Liam Delap, we have Mark Guihu, Nicholas Jackson, and Pedro Neto. Mudryk has just come in. He's being assessed if he will be ready to play in the starting 11, or he'll be loaned out. And remember, in that position that Mudrik has come in, we have Pedro Neto, we have Gittens, and now Mudrik. So these three players, and remember also Morgan Rogers can play in the same position. That means there will be movements in that position. And in the look of things, somehow Gittens has improved a little bit. And Mudrik, he might come back strong. So the person who is likely to be sold here is Pedro Neto. He has had so many chances. He has played a full season under Enzo Maresca. But Neto has not proved that much. And the talks around him have eventually cooled. But I believe after the World Cup, he has joined the team in Hong Kong to play the preseason. But I believe he will be sold because there is interest from the Premier League. There is interest from Liverpool. Liverpool are really interested in him. If maybe they might miss out on Bakola from PSG, or maybe they might just sign him and Bakola at the same time. So Liverpool are really interested in Pedro Neto. There's also interest from Saudi Arabia. Al Hilal, I think they are interested in him, and how I wish Al Hilal comes in and picks him because they will pay more fees for him. So I believe Pedro Neto will be sold before the transfer window comes to an end. Then as for Nicholas Jackson, this is a player who used to miss chances. All of us can admit that. He went to Bundesliga at Bayern Munich. He played a full season behind a Hurricane. He didn't have enough playing time, but he scored a couple of goals. He has gone to the World Cup. We watched him in the World Cup. He's still the same Jackson, missing chances, being selfish sometimes, and he's now back. Aston Villa and Tottenham are now interested in him. Chelsea value Nicholas Jackson at 65 million euros, and I believe this is a player who should not. This is a player who should be sold, because if you want to compete at a top level, you can't have a player like Jackson. Missing chances left, right, and center, missing chances day and night, causing trouble like fighting for penalties. We saw he fought for the penalties the other time with Madueke. We also getting unnecessary red cards. This is not a player that he's supposed to be in Chelsea at the moment. So, and we cannot loan him to Aston Villa because remember you cannot loan two players to the same team. Chelsea have already loaned Alejandro Garnacho to Aston Villa. So there is no way they will loan Jackson again. So if Aston Villa are really interested, of which they are really interested, they have to pay the 65 million price tag that Chelsea has put on Jackson. The other team that I just chipped in is Tottenham. Remember, they have had Kolo Muani was left, who was playing for Tottenham on loan. He has left, he went back to PSG. PSG have now sold him to Juventus. So they are looking for a replacement, So I believe Tottenham will also go in for Jackson. And I hope they pay the 65 million euros and get him. So in all that I've talked about, from from Pedro Neto, from the goalkeepers, Mike Penders, from Robert Sanchez, to everything that I've talked about, let me see in the comment section what is your take on these players. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, comment, like, and share. Thank you, and see you next time.